is unfortunately right now entertainment. That's all majalis are. We don't actually, it's, especially if we can get someone that can rile us up really well, then that's the most entertaining person, And then, like I said yesterday, our Jashams turn into our substitute for concerts. I will play qasidas and nawhas in my car in order to, mitigate my desire to listen to music. The Quran will simply be listened to because of how nice the reciter is. And so, there's no one in it for, Allah. Very few. Rather, you find that people, we attend majalis for entertainment, for an entertainment factor. We will turn around and say, oh, this person is, not very good. This Maulana Tablighi, is probably not the one that we want to listen to. He hasn't got the Josh that we need. And so, we totally disregard it. So the whole institution of our majalis has become entertainment. And so their educational value is almost, in the low percentile, the lowest percentile of what we actually gain. And then there's no follow-up. I mean, even the whole story of Kumayl bin Ziyad al-Nakhai and the Kumayl, the whole, I said the other day, the whole of Masjid al-Kufa is filled. Amir al-Mu'mineen is speaking to the people, I could teach you a dua to recite on this night that was taught by Khizr himself. Everyone goes home, like, no one really cares. We do that all the time. We hear something, that's interesting, and then we go home. No one wants to chase it up, except for Kumayl. Kumayl went and chased it up, and Kumayl became immortal. His name became immortal, because he actually took the step to go and learn something that he did not know. He went to go and, gain some sort of knowledge that he didn't have, and just taking that step towards Amir al-Mu'mineen, not only was he given a dua, but on top of that, he contributed the dua to him, that from that day until now, has become the dua of Kumayl bin Ziyad al-Nakhai. Abu Hamza al-Thumani is the same. That Abu Hamza al-Thumani is one of those companions who the Imam would reveal the intimate haqa'iq to, the intimate secrets, the realities to. He was one of those ashab as-sar, one of those very close companions of the Imam. He would, the narration says that Abu Hamza was the Salman of his time. And then another narration from the sixth Imam says that Abu Hamza was the Luqman of his time. Luqman Hakim. So Abu Hamza was the Luqman of his time. And so Imam, and then you can tell the level of Abu Hamza, that Imam says, I'll teach you a dua, and this is now Abu Hamza in one night retaining this dua, and those of you that read it will realize that how long this dua is and what the intellectual capacity of Abu Hamza al-Thumani was. That the Imam is whispering to him this supplication, and Abu Hamza is writing it or remembering it, and so these sort of intimate gatherings, these close connections that the Imam, we don't have this idea of, or this desire to seek knowledge anymore. We are academically stagnant. We are religiously stagnant. We don't actually progress anymore. What I learned 10 years ago, that's enough for me. And then, alhamdulillah, sometimes we like to blame the scholars as well, and so say, oh, he comes and they only say the same thing, but to be honest, they said something different. We'd be like, when's he come up with this new religion? And then let's go back to Khaybar and Khandaq. And so, we don't have this desire to learn. We don't have this desire to develop, this desire to seek that insight, to become the Abu Hamza of today. Rather, You know, we're happy with our stagnation. We're happy with just being one of those people that listen to Amir al-Mu'mineen and they went home. And we don't really want to progress. But the narration says that our Shi'as are the ones that get together in order to spread our teachings. And many people used to come to the sixth Imam and ask him for advice. One individual came, said that I live in a world or in a country where I'm surrounded by kuffar. And you know, what happens is that one or two of us get together and all we do is any ahadith that we've heard from you or that we remember, we just relay to each other. And Imam says that you, in that gathering, says, may the mercy of Allah be upon you. That in that gathering you are surrounded by the malaika, may be istighfar for you as long as you sit there talking about our teachings. As long as you sit there and you learn about us. Another individual comes to me and says, I live in, again, a place of kufr. You know, everyone around me is non-Muslim. And the Imam says that your role is just to take our teachings to the people. If they know what we have to say, they will come towards us. And know that if you die in this state, on the day of judgment, Allah will raise you as an ummah, not as a single man. You'll be classified as a whole nation because you did what a whole nation should have done. So, this spreading the teachings of Ahlul Bayt, and it leads on from the point yesterday of these vanity projects that we have with these posters of Imam Hussein with names of Gandhi and these such kuffar on there. And whatever their disgusting practices were and things like that aside, but why not take the teachings of the Imams to the people? You know, the Imams are always saying, just tell them what we have to say. You want to do something on environment, tell them how Rasulullah said it is haram for you to cut down a tree. You know, and then, okay, fine, Muslims don't follow it, but this is what Islam is. You know, we're probably the first, at least in England, the Muslims are the first to cement over the back garden because they can't be bothered to mow the lawn. So they want to pave over everything. So it's a concrete garden, so they don't have to maintain the garden. But this whole idea of the environment, all of these things, so much from Ahlul Bayt, and we still knock at the door of Gandhi, and then people like Edward Gibbon. Who knows who Edward Gibbon is? Who is Thomas Carlyle? Okay, fine, historians have gone, but even the average Joe in the street that's supposed to know who they are doesn't know who they are. So you're much better off putting the teachings of the Imams. And then if we do that, not only is there an inherent spiritual value, but there's also an inherent value to society. That the Imams do have the answers to the problems that we have today. So that was the third trait. The fourth trait, and I want to finish this hadith because obviously it's my last Friday here with you, and then also we want to try and finish early so everyone can get to the Qutb Ali. We'll speak more about that in the second khutbah. The fourth trait is when they become angry, when they become angry, they don't do dhulm. They don't oppress. So, okay, fine. What does that mean? But again, as we mentioned, and we have been mentioning in the majalis that night, dhulm is not one country bombing another. No, dhulm is me, this pen here is its place. Me moving this pen over here, this is dhulm on the owner of the pen. Because I've made him go a few inches extra to get his pen back. These are dhulm, having a car with a loud exhaust that wakes up my neighbors, this is dhulm. Doing anything that infringes upon the right of an individual. Making noise is dhulm if I'm disturbing other people. So they don't. Here the Imam is saying that when they become angry, they don't do dhulm. Now I become angry and I kick a door, make a hole in it, for example. One way or another. People tend to do that. Or I'm angry and I throw a plate or I throw something and I break it. Or I'm angry at someone and I throw their possession and I break it. You know, we have this various domestics that happen. And so they do all of these actions out of anger, but the Imam is saying, no, Shi'as, they're not, you know, when they become angry, they don't do dhulm. And when they do become angry, it is only because for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Otherwise, and they're not angry. They are calm. You know, in the dua of the 12th Imam, we say in it that oh Allah, give our mashayikh, our elders, waqar and sakina. And what is the meaning of waqar and sakina? It is this, essentially the example given is like that of a lake. And you see how still a lake is. There's no ripples in that lake. No matter what strikes it, it doesn't ripple. It just stays calm. It has great depth to it. And the zahir is very calm. And so this whole concept of becoming, and it's sharh al-sadr, again this idea that comes up over and over in the literature, this ability to expand the chest, to be humble, to be dhaleel within oneself, but yet possess great status in the eyes of the people, but still consider yourself not to be worthy of what you have. When something happens in an individual's life that has this sharh al-sadr, it's able to absorb that trouble, that volume, whatever has happened to it, and never bring it up. See, we become very bitter. Because, much of this bitterness that we carry around, this hatred that we carry around in ourselves for people, or, someone that wronged us 50 years ago, or someone that didn't come to our daughter's wedding, 10 years ago, and so now we're mortal enemies, and there are people like this. The reason is, if someone's wronged us truly, the reason we become so bitter is because we don't believe, we don't have that actual faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that He is watching. See, when I have that faith that Allah is watching, then I don't get bitter. When I hate the sin, not the sinner, then I'm able to do those feats of patience that the Imams displayed, that someone's coming and swearing at them on their faces, and they're turning around and saying, you look like you're a traveller. Do you need somewhere to stay? We can offer you accommodation. Do you need clothing? We can offer you clothing. If you need food, if you need money, we can offer it. This is sharh al-sadr. That you don't hate the sinner, you hate the sin. Yes, he swore this is something else, but he's still a creature of Allah. He's still a creature of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's been created in perfection by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so I love that perfection. And it's even post Karbala when Yazid writes to Imam al-Sajjad and says to him that, give me something that I can have my sins forgiven for what I did in Karbala. Can you imagine? Well, the Imam is saying, hey, who sees this letter, the companions of you? So what are you going to do? So want to write him something that'll have his sins forgiven. So what do you think? The Imam writes in Namaz al-Wafayna, sends it. Imam, what are you doing? He's the one that killed your father in Karbala. It's all of this problem that you face. He says, but I'm still his Imam. Regardless of what he's done, I'm still his Imam. Amir al-Mu'mineen speaking to Ibn Muljam, he strikes him in the head and he says, tell me, was I not a good Imam to you? No. This idea, this is that sharh al-sadr. that Marwan comes to the Imam during the event of Harra, to the fourth Imam, says that, will you, that same Marwan, that at the start of the whole incident which led to Imam Hussein leaving Medina, says, will you take my women folk and children under your protection, because I fear for them with the army that Yazid has sent? Imam says, yes, bring them. And they stayed in the house of the Imam with so much peace and so much happiness that they said, we've never had so much freedom and peace in the houses of our fathers as we did in the house of Ali ibn Hussein. This is Sharh al-Sadr, that you're able to overlook the wrongs of a person and see the perfection that Allah has created. And you hate their actions, yes. But when they take the chance to turn back, then you accept that turn back. So our Shias are the ones that, when they're angry, they don't oppress. The fifth thing is, when they're happy, lam yusrafu. They don't do israf. Where should we start? Our weddings? The amount that is spent on weddings. Except forget all the haram that we do, the music, the mixed gatherings, the no hijab, all of that rubbish. That aside, we all know that's haram anyway, whether we do it or not. But the excessive spending, the excess in hiring cars, in hiring halls, in hiring this person and this makeup artist and that other individual, the amount that is spent. So when they're happy, they don't do israf. You look at how much is, and israf even in our actions, we don't transgress boundaries. Look at our 13th of Rajab. Rajab, I said to you in the first majlis, has become the month of the Ghullat. Yeah? The Ghalis have taken over the whole of Rajab. That even the average person that is sitting there listening to these qasidas thinking, wow, that's great, but they don't realize they're committing shirk. That they're entering the realms of kufr. That's why you're now comparing Amirul Mu'mineen to Allah. You know, these qasidas and stuff, you hear things like, the Holy Prophet went on Mi'raj and there was a curtain in the way, and then there was a hand, behind the curtain, and then, but all I wanted to do was, come out the curtain and say to you, Hadar hu me hadar. It's kufr, shirk. That's behind the curtain, the hand, there's nothing, there's no narration of a hand coming, God manifesting a hand to shake the hand of the Prophet. These sort of problems, this is what the Imams, but they're happy, they don't do israf. They don't leave the religion because they're happy. And we do it on a daily basis, we do it constantly. In the way that we waste in our lives, the way that we exaggerate in regards to the Imams. Where you're starting to attribute rububiyyah to Amirul Mu'mineen, or people are saying Ali is Raziq, na'udhu billah. All of these things. And they say, no, but it's poetry and fulan and fulan. No, it's shirk. It's not poetry. And amongst these mushrikeen, because in the UK we have a big problem with these mushriks, that they come and they do all of their whatever they do. Now these people, if they have this aqidah, they have this, and alhamdulillah you guys are saved, because you're a lot further away. First, I think it hits shore, the facade starts in England, and then it makes its way across, and it hits the eastern seaboard first, and then it makes its way across. So it's like slowly coming across, and you guys are going to be the last ones to get it. So that's why I'm giving you a heads up of what's coming your way. So these ghalis, they will say things like this, that they'll get together and they will say, this is shirk, they're mushrik, to eat their food is haram, to marry amongst them is haram, to attend their gathering is haram. Anyone who holds this aqidah, have to be aware, and we have to be very black and white when it comes to it. Not, oh yeah, but they're lovers as well. No, they're mushriks. Simple as. Because the moment you give a leeway in this, people go even beyond what we can perceive. The sixth trait is that they are kind to their friends. And the seventh one I spoke about last week was they're kind to their neighbors. These are those 7 traits of the believers that the 8th Imam says. He says, our Shi'as, they're the ones that struggle in our way, they sacrifice in our way. They're the ones that are friends with each other for the sake of our love. They're the ones that sit together in order to spread our teachings. When they're angry, they don't do dhulm. When they are happy, they don't do israf, they're not extravagant. They're kind to their friends and they're kind to their neighbors. Now it's for each and every one of us to judge. What of those characteristics do I possess? And can I really call myself a Shia of the Imam? أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إنا أعطيناك الكوثر فصل لربك وانحر إن شانئك هو الأبتر.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام تحية والإكرام على النبي الأمي البكي المدني الهاشمي الذي سمي في السماء يحمد وفي الأرض بأبي القاسم محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
وصل على أمير المؤمنين وقائد الغر المحجلين علي بن أبي طالب.
اللهم صل على محمد.
صلى الله سيدة الطاهرة الممتهنة الصابرة فاطمة بنت محمد سيدة النساء العالمين.
اللهم صل على محمد.
صلى على سبطي الرحمة وإمامي الحجاء الحسن والحسين سيدة شباب أهل الجنة.
اللهم صل على محمد.
علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد بن موسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي والقائم الحجة المهدي.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
عجل فرجه وسهل مخرجه وجعلنا من عوانه وانصاره والمستشهدين تحت لواء الصلوات.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
In this second part, again, as I said last week, it is reserved for the social and political matters of the Muslim Ummah. Today marks the last Friday of the month of Ramadan, and we come to it. And I said, yesterday that it's somehow the magical Jum'ah, where we all of a sudden just it's the one Jum'ah that I can make time for in the whole year. But all the other Jum'ahs I can't make any time for. Though the narration says anyone who misses 3 Jum'ahs on purpose is a munafiq. And so, I make this special because somehow, some way we think, there's some sort of special powers on this Friday. It's going to Jum'ah or Shahr Ramadan. Every other Jum'ah has the same ability, has the same power, has the same, revolutionary, talk in it. And so, it highlights the huge paradox that is our life, our religious life, where we look for quick fixes. You have this fraudulent thing going around, the whole qadai, umri, salah, that rubbish. And for somehow that, you recite these magical 2 rakats and somehow everything is forgiven. And even actually there's a letter from the office of Saint Sistani saying that this is absolute rubbish. Obviously he published it in Urdu because it's an Indo-Pak problem. No one else seems to find this issue. It came from the office of Sistani saying, this is rubbish. There's no such concept that you pray 2 rakat salah or 4 rakat salah, whatever it is, and it's penance for all the, qada that you missed. No mustahab action can fulfill your qada. It's as simple as that. No matter how much we try and find these quick fixes, can I recite this magical potion, spell over this water and sprinkle it in this room, or can I tie this magical amulet to my leg and, chase away the jinn that's hiding in my toe, or something like that. We have all these weird and fanciful beliefs where we trivialize the religion to that level where, Jumu'atul Wada has become trivialized as well. That it's like the one thing, I don't pray throughout the whole year. Jumu'atul Wada I come and Salatul Eid. Alhamdulillah. I'm very proud of that fact. No, I don't miss Jumu'atul Wada. And Salatul Eid, of course. Although, by the way, again, I'm giving you a heads up because it's coming from England, people are starting to reject Eid in England as well now. Shias are apparent Shias are that no, just the Shahadat of Amirul Mu'mineen, 40 days haven't passed. And then Eid al-Adha, Hazrat Muslim was just killed yesterday. How can you celebrate? But Eid al-Zahra is fine, something that we made up ourselves. That's fine, even though Imam al-Askari died the night before. And obviously 13th of Rajab, that's, like I said, the Eid al-Duballat anyway. And then they have a Ghadir. Everything else is just matam and no happiness. Although the Ahlul Bayt themselves say that our Shias are the ones that are, they says that they are made of our leftover clay. They are happy when we are happy. They are sad when we are sad. But we become hujjah upon ourselves. And like I said, this is that huge paradox that we live, that is our religious life, that we look for quick fixes to do things. Our religious and social lives are two separate things, whereas actually they're not. See, your religious duty dictates that you are a good human being. It dictates that you're doing this great initiative, and I said last week as well that this food bank collection of the food and things. And I'm surprised that there was only 2 barrels full, or there was still 1 barrel left to be filled. Or this is a duty as a Muslim. Our duty doesn't just lie in Iraq or Pakistan, but our duties lie here as well to those that are the mustad'afeen in this society, that are downtrodden in this society. Because we will be questioned, because they are our neighbors. What did you do to help the society that you lived in? Well, I just milked it and then sent all the money back home. And you get it, and the people justify, no, Kafir stay. It's fine, you can take loans and everything. Send the money back. All the Maraji, they have a fatwa. That is, you must obey the laws of the land that you reside in, unless those laws contradict the laws of Islam. Most of the laws are derived from the laws of the ideals of Islam anyway. But, this whole idea that we have this, like, 2 separate lives. Anyhow, talking about our social responsibility, the last Friday of Shahr Ramadan was obviously Jumu'atul Wada, that magical Friday. But more importantly than Jumu'atul Wada was the highlighting of Yawm al-Quds. That Imam al-Khomeini Qaddasa al-Sarrah, he came and he appointed the last Friday as the day of Quds. When we go out and we protest and we raise our voices for the oppressed mu'mineen in Quds. And I spoke about this, that there are speakers that mount upon the mimbars and they say things like, oh, but they are Nasibi and they are Salafi and they hate Shi'as. And this has never been a criterion for whom the followers of Ahlul Bayt defend, or whom the Ahlul Bayt indeed themselves defend. It's quite a simple criteria. If someone is oppressed, we must raise our voice for them. And Quds itself, is important to us for sites such as Masjid al-Aqsa. This is why Quds is important to us. The issue of Quds is not something small. And for the first time this year, you have an opportunity to attend a rally that is taking place after this Jum'ah. I'm going to finish Salat al-Jum'ah early as well, so that people can leave on time as well to attend the Quds rally, so that we can reach there on time in big numbers. And so we need to be there in order to show that this solidarity with the people of Palestine, with the whole movement of Quds. We often get afraid, no, what about the government and this and that? No, it doesn't. For you to raise your voice in protest, that is your democratic right. This peaceful protest is your democratic right. So exercise that right. I'm so afraid. Even generally here in America, people's political engagement is nil. There are people that say voting is haram, when the Maraji have given you fatawi saying, no, voting in America is not haram. But yet people are, no, it's haram. You're not going to vote. So how are you going to change things? See, when you have a concentration of votes, as I said, I think, last week, when you have a concentration of votes, you can sway any election. So if you turn to your senators or whatever and say, hey, we've got like 1,000, 2,000 Shias in the Bay Area, we'll get them to vote one way, but what are you going to do for us? That's how you talk to politicians. That's how you get through to them. Care about votes. That's how lobbies are made, when you have a concentration of vote, so that we will tell people to vote in a way. These are the things that we need to do. We separate our social lives and our Islamic lives, but we don't realize that all of this is our Islamic duty. Quds is our Islamic duty. We have an opportunity, we have a place to go out and protest, to show it, even if we don't do anything. Just stand there in order to show the numbers. They're just, that impact to show, yes, you know what, we are actually raising our voices. At least then we can look at our Imam in the eye and say, you know what, we've done our bit. We did what was, required, what we could do. And we can look Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on their judgment. Said, look, there was a Quds protest, I attended. That was the most I could do. I couldn't go and liberate or whatever. But I raised my voice for the oppressed. That's all we can do, and that's all I ask of you. Try and make this event successful so it continues every year and gets stronger and stronger every year. The Quds rally in the Quds march in the UK goes straight through central London. It's attended by Muslims, non-Muslims. People attend in their thousands. If you market it right, people will attend in their thousands here. Because the humanity of men is inclined towards the oppressed, no matter how much the media tells them. So inshallah, keep that in mind, and hopefully I'll see everyone there as well. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إنا أعطيناك الكوثر فصل لربك وانحر إن شانئك هو الأبتر.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. سبحان الله والحمد لله ولا إله إلا الله والله أكبر ولله الحمد. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن أمير المؤمنين وإمام المتقين علي ولي الله.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
أشهد أن أمير المؤمنين وإمام المتقين عليا حجة الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح. حي على خير العمل حي على خير العمل. الله